You are Locked On Eagles POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
My, oh my, welcome into the first ever Eagles postcast here on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta. Great to have you along for the ride. So much to get into, but first I do have to tell you that this particular episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Locked On MLB, and have yourself a fantastic time. And also, let's not forget about the amazing people over at LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms apply, as do conditions. And also, thanks for joining us here on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On Eagles postcast, making it your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as well, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. What I looked at tonight was a team that looked like they've been playing for their coordinators for quite some time. Not just a couple of training camp sessions, but playing for them for at least a year or two. We talk about it all the time with young quarterbacks. Oh, they're playing like a 10-year vet, that type of thing. This team looked like they were very much on the same page as their brand spanking new defensive coordinator and their brand spanking new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. And I know I'm disappointed. You may be disappointed as well that you didn't get to see Jalen Hurts go out there and play football tonight. I didn't get to see Cam Jurgens and Jalen Hurts. That was one of the number one things I was looking at going into this game, just seeing them get a series. I know it was the plan. They probably didn't like the precipitation in the air, the moisture on the field, and they thought, maybe we'll roll them out. We'll feel out how it goes in New England when we have the joint practice with the Patriots. Then maybe going into the game, we'll actually play them next week under better weather conditions. A little slippery out there on the field tonight. Don't think they want to roll them out there. Bottom line, though, when you look at who you wanted to see play tonight, you wanted to see corners? Oh, you got yourself some corners. You wanted to see some linebackers? You got yourself some linebackers. You wanted to see the right guard battle play out tonight? You saw the right guard battle play out tonight. We'll get into it all, and we'll start it off with three big things, as we do for each and every postcast. Number one, Will Shipley. The fourth round pick. Talk about guys that look like they belong. Look, let me just get this out of the way. My thing that I always look at for preseason play. It's never, oh, this guy's going to the Hall of Fame. Look how I played in the preseason. It's never like that. You know what it is for me? Look like you belong. Especially if you're a rookie. Look like it. If you're a fourth round pick, look like you belong. Will Shipley looked like he belonged. He was not afraid to put his head down and run. He was not afraid to get to the outside. He was not afraid to run between the tackles, and he was extremely consistent, comfortable, confident, running the football and also reeling in that 7-yard touchdown pass for the first touchdown of the Eagles preseason of the 2024 year. And with that, we wipe away the end of last year. No, just kidding. But looking at him in that first drive, looking at him in that first quarter, you looked at a guy that was always comfortable. Loved what I saw from him tonight. He is number one on my list. What you got from him in those 8 total touches was phenomenal. Number 2 on my list. Big thing going into the game tonight. One of the things that we were all looking at, Mekhi Becton, and then also looking at Tyler Steen, where you're going to see them on the field tonight. Left guard, right guard, left guard, where were they going to be at? Obviously, at this point, it very much looks like Mekhi Becton is going to be getting that start at the right guard spot. He started in the game tonight at the right guard spot. Tyler Steen was over at left guard tonight. I'm going to go ahead and say it's pretty safe to assume that if you want Mekhi Becton to be your starting right guard this season, then you're going to have him be at the starting right guard position to be on the offensive line to start out the game. If you wanted Tyler Steen to be there, you would have put him there. Now, Tyler Steen did stay in the game for longer, did not look great. He had one really good pull play where he came up, made a block upfield, and that was great. That was fine. but just straight up blocking. He, first off, didn't look 100%. So let's just get that out of the way. I know Jeff McClain, Inquirer.com, was also tweeting something about that as well. When I was watching him, he looked hobbled is probably too dramatic a term, but definitely he looked like a guy that was a step slower than everybody else. He looked like a guy that was still coming back from that injury. So for me, Tyler Steen did not impress. If I go Will Shipley, I go very enthusiastic, thumb up. If I go Tyler Steen, thumb down. But I have confidence that he'll be better than what we saw. But he's not going to be better than what we saw tonight unless he actually gives himself a break, actually gives himself a little bit of a rest, because he doesn't look like he's ready to play. Does not look like he's ready to go full tilt, 100% all time throughout a game. Maybe he needs to just have this game under his belt to get back to as close to 100% as he can. Let's hope that that's the case, because I'd like to see that young man playing on this offensive line. Now, look, in all honesty, I have no dog in this race. I just want the best possible right guard to be playing in front of Jalen Hurts. You already have enough changing when it comes to Cam Jurgens taking over the center position, and that's not a knock on Cam Jurgens. That's an acknowledgement of not having a Hall of Fame center anymore in Jason Kelce. I don't need any more turmoil. I don't need any more question marks. I just want the guy to go in there at the right guard spot, whether that's Becton, whether that's Steen, and play that position at a very high level. But as of right now, acknowledging facts, it certainly looks like Steen has some catching up to do to Becton. So Shipley, right guard position, 1 and 2 on that list. And number 3, I know I mentioned it right out of the gate to start the show. Kellen Moore just took over this offense. Kenny Pickett is coming over from Pittsburgh, and Tanner McKee, both quarterbacks with that offensive coordinator, with the moving pieces at the wide receiver and running back positions, and some musical chairs on the offensive line. Excuse me, you had not one, but 2 15-play plus drives. 2, you had a 15-play touchdown drive. You had a 17-play touchdown drive, both with different running backs, different quarterbacks. What? That's not supposed to happen in the preseason. It's supposed to be, well, it's going to take time for everyone to understand what we want to do with this offense. And that's what they did. I absolutely love that. You can talk about the penalties tonight. 8 penalties, fine, whatever. That stuff will work itself out. But to see your offense in the early goings of the game and the later stages of the game come up with 2 separate 15-plus play drives shows me that this team is ahead of schedule when it comes to understanding what it is that Kellen Moore wants to do. Now, let's keep in mind, this isn't a judgment of Kellen Moore's game plan or even play calling ability. It's more play calling than it is game plan, but you're not game planning in the preseason. This isn't about that. This is about communication. This is about Kellen Moore being in the headset of his quarterbacks. This is about the quarterbacks understanding what they have to do with this new offensive coordinator. Kenny Pickett's on a brand new team, and he's running it beautifully. Same thing with Tanner McKee. I can't get over the idea of it wasn't just like Jalen Hurts executed a 15-play drive. No, it was Kenny Pickett and it was Tanner McKee with running backs that one of them you're never going to hear of after this, after the first couple games here. It's unbelievable. That jumped out to me. If I had to give a 3B, Vic Fangio's defense, what a pleasant surprise. Again, not game planning. You're not scheming, but to just show that just know that you understand what's going on. Now, offensively speaking, you didn't see a lot of starters. Defensively speaking, you saw a boatload of starters, which was great. And you had a guy like Keely Ringo go out there and play really well throughout this game. Quinyon Mitchell showed me a lot. Should have had an interception and just bounced out of his hands. I'm thinking, is A.J. Brown going to walk by him and think, yo, those are some trash hands, bro? Throw it back in his face a little bit, have some fun. But bottom line is he was in the right spot to make a play. Unfortunately, couldn't reel it in for the interception. But you saw some good things from him. Some other younger players that we'll get into a little bit later. But overall, I just want to talk about Vic Fangio and just the job he did tonight with this defense. They look like they had been playing for him for quite some time. And also, looking at blitzes being dialed up, excuse me, not only is Devin White starting as your middle linebacker in this game, but Devin White's also blitzing in the first quarter. Excuse me? Okay. Tyler Hall gets a blitz, a corner blitz. Quinyon Mitchell gets a corner blitz dialed up for him. Okay, Vic Fangio, I see you. You're not just here for discounts at the Palladium. You're here to call some good defensive plays. All right. I like it. Thought it was supposed to be all quarters defense. I'm not sticking my chest out just yet. Maybe I am. I'll button that top button. But I loved a lot of things that I saw tonight. When we come back, there's one more name that I got to get into because you talk about flashbacks. Hell yeah, flashbacks in this game. We'll get to that when we return. You're Locked On Sports Philadelphia and you're Locked On Sports Philadelphia postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience, the formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, style, or all of the above, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, you'll start your guaranteed fit for your ride every time or your money back. That's right. Your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Get the ride or die alive. Keep the ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. That's ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. You know where I'm going with this. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. looked really good tonight. I'll say it again. If you're a rookie playing in a preseason game, you're trying to make the most of your opportunity, obviously. But what I'm looking for from you as a rookie, just breaking in professionally, look like you belong. Do not look lost. And there was no point in this game where I looked at Jeremiah Trotter Jr., the hatchet man, and thought he looked lost. Plugging holes, stopping Johnson, two different occasions where you saw a big scramble out there for the taking for Johnson, but Jeremiah Trotter Jr. went up, closed the gap, made the tackle from behind on that specific play. And then later on in the game, you have another opportunity for a running back to break free and a run in a close down situation about 3rd and 2. And you have Jeremiah Trotter Jr. jumping up to make sure that he stopped any type of big gain and stopped the first down. That's what you want to get from your linebacker in that position. That's what you got from Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I loved seeing that from him tonight. I mentioned Quentin Mitchell's ability. Keely Ringo broke up a touchdown pass. This is, of all the things to look at in this game tonight, going into it, you looked at the right guard position. You wanted to know what you were going to get from the right guard position between Tyler Steen and Mekhi Becton. That's what you got. You got Becton starting. After that, the number 2 thing I was looking at in tonight's game was the cornerback play. You were looking at the way Keely Ringo was going to go out there. You wanted to see if Isaiah Rodgers was even going to start tonight. Darius Slay did not play. Brandon Graham did not play. Josh Sweat did not play. You did have Bryce Huff out there. In the limited time he was out there, didn't really show me a lot, so I'll just go ahead and not freak out, but there's time. We got plenty of time for that. But when it comes to everything else, when you looked at this defense, for the most part, guys looked like they knew what they were doing and they were all on the same page. And Keely Ringo was playing into the 4th quarter in this game tonight. And he was hanging with his wide receiver step by step. The only play that I saw him give up was a picture-perfect back shoulder throw in the 1st quarter down the near sideline. And that was the only play that I saw Keely Ringo really get beat on. Other than that, he went into the end zone and he battled. And he made sure that he broke up that touchdown pass that could have changed the way this game turned out, as we all know. Loved what I saw from him throughout the game tonight. And a couple of other notes looking at this game tonight, what I saw from the Eagles in particular. A lot of great stuff. Number 1, the 15-play drives I mentioned, Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore, what they were able to do with their units. And how about this? Not only did you get those 15-play plus drives, you saw with the 2 different quarterbacks, 2 different running backs, that whole thing. But you also saw 2 different quarterbacks initiate the tush push, the brotherly shove. Kellen Moore keeping it in the playbook. And I know some people thought, why would he do that? He's not going to do that. He's not. It's a different offensive coordinator calling plays. He's not going to keep the brotherly shove in the playbook. Let me ask you this: why not? I expected him to keep it. If you have, look, I don't know what Kenny Pickett squats. I don't know what Tanner McKee squats. But I know Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. So I understand why you'd run up with him. But to see them break it out at two different occasions in this game tonight, hell yeah, they're Kellen Moore. Way to use what you got, fella. Like seeing that tonight. And there was one more young player, and he's a guy that I have not sung the praises of. He is a guy that going into the season, I have a very low bar. I have a very low amount of expectations for what you're going to see from second-year outside linebacker, edge rusher, Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith didn't show me anything last year. And it was around this time last year, right after their first preseason game, that Nolan Smith made the famous quotes about, hey, you got to know what it's like. You ain't hungry unless you're ready to eat off the floor. Remember that? And we all went, damn, that's hardcore. All right, man, you ain't hungry unless you're eating off the floor. That shows you're pretty hungry. And then in the same media session, he mentioned, oh, yeah, sometimes my shoulder works. Sometimes it doesn't. Say what now? What was that, Nolan Smith? First-round pick? Huh? Oh, your shoulder doesn't work sometimes? Isn't that why they didn't have Nakobe Dean early in the draft? Because of his shoulder? No? Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Nolan Smith was flying around the field tonight. I was very impressed. I was as impressed as you could be after preseason game number 1, looking at what Nolan Smith was able to do on the field tonight. Got a sack in tonight's game. Got a couple of pressures in tonight's game. Made a couple tackles downfield. It was good to see him. He was using every bit of his speed, and he looked quick. He looked fast. He looked aggressive. And I'll use this phrase one more time. He looked like he belonged. Last year, there's not too many instances where you could look at a guy like Nolan Smith and say, oh, yeah, he's ready to go. This guy has a future with the Eagles. Tonight was a very good first step for the new 2024 version of Nolan Smith, whatever that is going to be. But what I saw tonight was the best version of Nolan Smith that I have seen since he has been a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, chalk it up to a really good start to the preseason for Nolan Smith, and I hope that he's also carrying that on throughout the training camp sessions, and will carry it on for the upcoming week, taking on the New England Patriots in both the practice sessions for the joint practice and both preseason game number 2 coming up on Thursday night. As far as the quarterback play goes, I away from just calling plays with Kellen Moore and what you saw in that regard, I thought what you saw from Kenny Pickett was pretty solid. I thought what you saw from Tanner McKee was pretty solid as well. Keeping in mind who they were playing with as the game went on, especially Tanner McKee, you feel like the quarterback position for the Philadelphia Eagles after Jalen Hurts is pretty good. You feel like it's pretty solid. Just after tonight's game, you know what Kenny Pickett can do. You've seen him with the Steelers. You haven't seen a lot of Tanner McKee, obviously, but what you saw tonight were two guys that look like they could at least run the offense, and they could do that with confidence. They could deliver the ball crisply to their receivers. I felt really bad for Tanner McKee because when you look at it, when it's all said and done for McKee, he comes out of the game tonight, unfortunately, 6 for 16, just 39 yards, and a rating of 45.8. All right. There were a couple of drops in this game that torched him and could have really padded the stats a little bit for Tanner McKee in this one. You had a situation where you had a big drop after, I forget who it was actually putting up some good numbers in the game. It actually took a huge hit earlier in the game, but he was able to and helped. Jacob Harris is who it was. He held on to the ball after a big illegal hit right before the Eagles scored their second touchdown of the game. Then he had a huge drop in the fourth quarter, I believe it was. A lot of room to run, hit him right in the hands, and unfortunately, they weren't able to get anything after that. Then, right before that play, as a matter of fact, another drop ball by another receiver there for the Eagles that torched Tanner McKee in that fourth quarter. One concern, if you even want to call it that, Jake Elliott, like, he practices, right? He's kicking at least a couple field goals while the other guys are running drills. But the other guys are practicing, and he's over there practicing too, right? He hits 2 posts tonight. One on a point after and one on a 50-yard field goal that he usually makes in his sleep. What? Then they get the redemption. They get another opportunity for him to kick a 49-yard field goal this time for the win. Second one in, I think it was a total of 30 game seconds and he drills that one for the Eagles to win it. Okay. Just before we went live, I heard a report that they were all shouting Jake the Make as they walked off the field with their 16-13 win over the Ravens to open up their preseason. Just like you want a little bit of drama start off the preseason, right? Just a little bit of drama. Whatever gets the juices flowing. When we come back, we'll take a look at that fourth quarter and how that broke down to what it was. A dramatic ending to preseason game number 1. Back in a few, you're Locked On Sports Philadelphia and your Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name's Mark Farzetta. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. And also, let me know your thoughts on this game. Who stood out to you? If you had to give the game ball to one player in tonight's game, who would it be? Hit me up in the comments. I'll throw you up here. We'll get that conversation going as well. Back in a few, you're Locked On Sports Philadelphia and the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. LinkedIn, that's where it's at. You're taking advantage of all LinkedIn has to offer. You should be taking advantage of all LinkedIn has to offer. Check this out. When you're talking about LinkedIn, you got to be impressed with everything they have going on with small businesses. Because when you're hiring for a small business, you want to find quality professionals that are the right person for that role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn just isn't about a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to a more perfect role for them. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. Make sure you do that. Terms apply, conditions apply as well. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. Now I want to tell you about BetterHelp. If you haven't heard about BetterHelp yet, now let me tell you. What about your self-care? What about your non-negotiables for your self-care? Maybe you never skip leg day at the gym. Maybe you never skip therapy day. If you're in need, BetterHelp is here to help. When your schedule's packed with kids, activities, your own activities, big work projects, and so much more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know that what makes us happy, it's hard to make it every single time. It's hard to make it right for yourself every single time. But when you feel like you need help, that's where BetterHelp enters, especially with those non-negotiables like therapy and how they're important and more important than ever. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. This is what you got to understand. You never skip therapy with BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/lockedon. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. BetterHelp.com/lockedon. And I do want to make sure I thank everyone for joining us on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On Eagles postcast, making it your first listen today. For your second listen, enjoy Locked On Fantasy Football podcast. Get daily insight to the best fantasy draft strategies so you can win your league this season. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So let's take a look at how this went down in the later stages of the game tonight. So Jake Elliott, a little scary with the way things were working out as this game went on. As I mentioned, he clanked one off the post in a point after, and then also missed a 50-yard field goal after a 14-play Eagles drive. Still tied at 13-all. He misses that field goal, and then on the very next possession by the Baltimore Ravens, they get one play off. Jones is at quarterback at this point now for the Ravens. And who comes around but Patrick Johnson, number 48, forces the ball loose. He's able to recover it as well after Ben Von Sumeren, middle linebacker, or at least auditioning for the role of middle linebacker with the Eagles in this game tonight as well as the preseason, also comes down on the quarterback to make sure he can't recover the pigskin. The Eagles get the ball back. They run 2 plays to help center the ball, or 1 play to center the ball. Jake Elliott gets a little redemption. He goes up there, kicks a 49-yard field goal for the Eagles to take home the 16-13 win. Pretty impressive when you think about how this Eagles team was playing at the end of that game. They put their kicker in a position to win the game, came up just small. It looked like the Ravens were going to get back on the winning track. Don't forget, they lost their last 2 preseason games. All right, the streak had been over last year. They lost 2 preseason games last year. They're about to get possibly back on track with a couple of Hail Marys, maybe, trying to move the ball downfield with a tie ball game. Wasn't going to happen. Turnovers have been a huge thing for the Eagles when it comes to their defense not being able to produce turnovers, not being able to generate takeaways. The biggest storyline so far outside the coordinators has been Jalen Hurts not throwing an interception so far in camp. Now, here's the positive of that. The positive is Jalen Hurts is understanding everything that's going on around him. He's not making mistakes. Good. The negative. What the hell, defense? You can't take the ball away? Where's the first-round pick, Quentin Mitchell? Where's Darius Slay? Where's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson before the shoulder injury? Where are these guys at to make a play? They can't make a play? Nobody's making a play? That doesn't look good, Vic Fangio. It doesn't look good for the defense. So to see them go out tonight, and although it wasn't an interception, and Quentin Mitchell had an interception bounce out of his hands tonight, unfortunately, in the first quarter, they seal the deal. Well, Jake Elliott sealed the deal officially, but they put the ball right back in their offense's hands. They put the ball right back in their team's hands by forcing that turnover late in the game. You go through the regular season and you talk about plays that help turn the tides of a game. You wait for somebody to step up and make a play when maybe somebody else came up small. Who's got me on the pick-me-up play? Well, you know who had that? Patrick Johnson tonight, Ben Van Sumeren. That's who had you on the pick-me-up play. Jake Elliott, after missing that field goal. That, like I said, you could make in your sleep. Plenty of leg on a 50-yard field goal. Just clank off the post. If you were to tell me how this game was going to end, I wasn't going to say on a last-second takeaway by this Eagles defense. And after Jake Elliott missed a 50 and then made a 49. That was not in my bingo. That was not on my bingo card for tonight. You know what I'm saying? Looking at a couple other things from the game tonight. Takeaways in the early goings of this one. I loved, again, that you had the starters playing on defense. Offense, basically, nobody played. You had the right guard battle that I've mentioned. You had Will Shipley going out there just looking strong. 8 touches in the first quarter, including that touchdown reception. And I also like that play design. You didn't see too much of that. And I know it's hard. You don't want to get carried away with what you're seeing as far as play design goes in the preseason, but I certainly like that. I didn't see a lot of that. Johnny Wilson also deserves a shout out for his blocking ability more so than anything. There was one particular play, I think, it was Kenny Pickett overthrew Johnny Wilson, all 6'6" of them, on a slant route. But other than that, I thought it was all right. But Johnny Wilson, for the most part, I thought stole the show when it came to his blocking ability on the outside. They did run a couple bubble screens, a couple wide receiver screens in the game, but nothing egregious. You expect that in the preseason. Second quarter, Jalen Hunt, rookie, was able to go out there, look like he belonged, so that was good to see. You also saw what your cornerback positions could look like with Darius Slay. Isaiah Rodgers starting on the outside, maybe Quentin Mitchell starting on the outside. Quentin Mitchell also coming down to play on the inside and nickel. Thought that was interesting. Ringo, I mentioned he played a pretty damn good game throughout the night. Nakobe Dean was in the game late. Zach Bond made a pretty decent play down in the red zone. That was good to see him step up and make that play. And how about this? Talk about concentration. Vic Fangio's defense tonight against the Ravens did not allow a first down on a third down until the fourth quarter. That's some locked on concentration right there by this squad. And then, unfortunately, once they did that, the floodgates kind of opened. But going into that fourth quarter, they had not allowed a third down conversion. So good to see that, them locking down to make sure they got off the field. In the event that John Harbaugh did actually get off the field and not go for it like some maniac, like some preseason maniac. But that's the way that shook out. So all in all, great vibes from tonight. Want to see more from Tyler Steen as the preseason goes on. Also want to see more from Quentin Mitchell. Love to see him come up. As good as he looked tonight, I would love to see him come up with that interception. And Bryce Huff, certainly still in his limited time out there, leaving a lot to be desired. Hey, guess what? More of me coming up a little bit later. After this Eagles Locked On Sports Philadelphia postcast, I'll be bringing you guys your Locked On Phillies postcast as they're taking on the Diamondbacks tonight. Right now, the Diamondbacks are up in the fifth inning, 2-0. I'll be back with you guys for that one as well. Make sure you like and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia. That's Locked On Sports Philadelphia. And I do want to say thanks for making Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On Eagles postcast your first listen today. Now go listen to the Locked On Fantasy Football podcast. Get daily insight to the best fantasy draft strategies so you can win your league this season. You can find the link on Locked On Fantasy Football in the descriptions, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Once again, my name is Mark Farzetta. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are awesome. We'll be back with you guys for Locked On Phillies postcast coming up a little bit later tonight. See ya.